2:58 we woke up and there's water in the cabin.
Hi everyone, and welcome. Today, I've got a mix of cruise news stories that are sure to grab your attention. From unexpected challenges at sea to controversial questions and even some sneaky cruise line practices, there's a lot to talk about. Whether you're a seasoned cruiser or just curious about what happens on board, you're going to want to stick around for these updates. We'll start with a couple's dream vacation that took an unexpected turn due to a flooding cabin. Then, we'll dive into a heated debate about whether rules should ever be bent for a thrill-seeker's adventure. You'll also hear about an enticing deal offered to overbooked passengers that left some divided, and we'll cover a warning about a growing scam targeting cruise-goers. And if that's not enough, I'll wrap up with a fascinating look at how cruise lines are quietly changing the way they approach hygiene on board, and why it might actually be for the best. There's a lot to unpack today, so settle in, and let's dive into the latest cruise news. Let's start with an unfortunate event aboard the P&O Azora. A UK couple, Marcus and Melissa, were on a Canary Islands cruise when their trip took an unexpected turn. In the early hours of January 12th, around 2 a.m., a burst pool pipe caused their Deck 8 cabin to flood. The couple, along with other affected passengers, was evacuated and directed to Brody's Pub by the crew. After a 2-hour wait, Marcus and Melissa were assigned a smaller cabin on Deck 3. Unfortunately, they described the entire process as poorly managed.
3 o'clock in the morning, we were being bailed out the cabin. The service and reception the next morning was terrible. They didn't even know what was going on.
We didn't even know what was happening at all. You checked with reception numerous times. They said that we were going to be compensated as well, but just really for the inconvenience of moving out of our room for an hour and a half in the middle, nearly 2 hours in the middle of the night. And luckily our stuff wasn't damaged.
The following day, January 13th, the ship docked in Funchal, Madeira. Despite enjoying the destination, the couple expressed disappointment with P&O's handling of the situation, dampening their enthusiasm for future cruises with the line. Would you ever consider offering a bribe to ride a zip line? This scenario came up on a Royal Caribbean discussion board, and it's a fascinating topic. A passenger shared their excitement about trying the Dragon's Breath zipline in Labadee, Haiti, the world's longest zipline over water at 2,600 feet long and reaching speeds of 50 miles per hour. However, they admitted to being a few pounds over the weight limit, which is strictly set between 75 and 275 pounds. This led to the bold question: do you think if I gave a $100 tip, they'd let me on anyway? Unsurprisingly, the responses were strongly against it. Fellow cruisers pointed out that weight limits exist for safety reasons. One person even shared that their son, who was just 1 pound underweight, wasn't allowed to ride. Another reported being 2 pounds over and also denied. The risks are real. Tragic incidents have occurred when safety rules were ignored. A well-known example from 2 years ago involved an overweight rider in Central Florida who tragically fell from an attraction. This highlights why Royal Caribbean and other companies strictly enforce their rules. As for me, I've always wanted to go on a zip line, but always chickened out because I'm afraid of heights. Have you tried it? If so, let me know your experience. Imagine you are just 2 days away from your cruise, bags packed, excitement building, and then you get a phone call. But it's not bad news. It's the cruise line offering a deal. The message? We've overbooked this sailing and are looking for volunteers to rebook. If you accept, we'll give you a full refund and allow you to rebook a cruise of the same value anytime in the next 2 years. Plus, we'll cover the cost. Sounds tempting, right? A passenger shared this exact scenario on a Princess Cruises forum. Their cruise was valued at $3,000, and the deal offered a free rebooking for the same amount. Despite the generous offer, the passenger declined, citing cold temperatures back home and their eagerness to bask in the Caribbean sun. Opinions were mixed. Some agreed it wasn't worth the hassle of rearranging flights and hotels. Others, especially those living near the port, saw it as a no-brainer. They could simply drive to their next cruise and enjoy a free trip. Interestingly, this overbooking trend has been reported by passengers on Princess, Royal Caribbean, and Carnival in recent days. Have you ever been offered such a deal? Would you take it? Now, let's talk about a growing scam targeting cruise passengers. A traveler recently shared their experience while trying to make a name change on their Carnival cruise reservation. They searched for Carnival Cruise Line's phone number online, found one, and called. The person on the other end asked for $456 to process the name change and pressured them to pay immediately. Sensing something was off, the passenger hung up. When they checked Carnival's official website for the correct number, they reached an actual agent who handled the name change at no extra cost. Carnival later confirmed that this was the 10th such scam reported that day. This isn't an isolated issue. Similar scams have been reported with Royal Caribbean, Norwegian, and Princess. To avoid falling victim, always use the cruise line's official website for contact details. Avoid relying on search engines or voice assistants, as scammers often manipulate these to display fake numbers. The Viking Vela, Viking's newest ocean cruise ship, recently faced significant challenges while navigating rough seas. Delivered to Viking on December 3rd, this state-of-the-art vessel is currently on its 4th voyage, a 12-night In Search of the Northern Lights cruise that departed from England on January 10th. On Monday, while traveling from Holland to Norway, the ship encountered extreme weather in the North Sea. Passengers shared on social media that they experienced winds reaching 100 miles per hour and massive ocean swells of up to 35 feet. Some passengers also reported hearing alarms during the tumultuous journey. One guest described the situation, saying, "The seas were rough, and we did our best to hold on. The crew did what they could to keep us as safe as possible, and the captain frequently updated us over the loudspeaker, which helped us feel more secure." Amid the rough conditions, the Viking Vela also encountered a mechanical issue. While local news sources suggest the problem may have been related to the propulsion system, some passengers on board believed it was an issue with the ship's stabilizers. Stabilizers play a critical role in minimizing the ship's rolling motion, something particularly important during severe weather. Thankfully, the Viking Vela managed to safely reach Ålesund, Norway, where it took refuge from the storm and began repairs. Viking has confirmed that the necessary maintenance is underway and expected to be completed soon. As compensation for the unexpected situation, Viking offered passengers complimentary drink packages for the remainder of their voyage, along with a future cruise, credit worth 60% of their cruise fare. Despite the challenges, many passengers have expressed gratitude and high praise for the professionalism of the captain and crew throughout the ordeal. It's reassuring to see how well the situation was handled, and we're glad to hear everyone is safe. And now for our last cruise news update of the day. Have you noticed something a little sneaky happening on cruise ships lately? Some passengers have, and it's sparked quite a bit of discussion. During the pandemic and the restart of cruising, hand sanitizers were everywhere. Whether you were boarding the ship, walking into the buffet, or heading into the dining room, there were hand sanitizer dispensers and crew members making sure everyone sanitized their hands. But recently, things have changed. Hand sanitizer stations aren't as prominent anymore, and those crew members with bottles in hand? They're not always carrying hand sanitizer. Instead, many are now dispensing liquid soap. Here's what's happening. Passengers assume they're being given hand sanitizer, only to discover it's actually liquid soap. And, of course, liquid soap foams up. So what do you do next? You head to a sink to wash your hands. While it might seem sneaky, there's a good reason behind this. Washing your hands with soap and water is far more effective than hand sanitizer at preventing the spread of norovirus, which is a major concern on cruises. Hand sanitizer alone can't kill all the germs, but a good hand washing routine can dramatically reduce the risk of getting sick. So, if you notice this happening on your next cruise, now you'll know why. It's not just a clever trick, it's actually a way to keep everyone healthier. What do you think about this? Do you think it's a smart idea? Or would you prefer the choice to sanitize or wash on your own terms? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Thanks for sticking around. I hope you enjoyed these cruise updates and maybe even learned something new. If you've got thoughts, experiences, or tips to share, drop them in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. If you enjoyed this, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe so you don't miss future updates. Until next time, happy cruising, and I'll catch you soon.